Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am so happy to be here with you for this episode of Journey of the Master podcast. And we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, allowing yourself to be free, allowing yourself the freedom to live a life that you love, to create a life that you love. And so we're going to dive into this today. So thank you for being here. Hello to everyone who is on live. We appreciate you and all of your hellos from all over the world. Australia, Denver, New Jersey, Ontario, Arizona, the UK. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you and really, truly hope that every single one of these episodes of Journey of the Master podcast expands your perspective, helps you to remember who you really are, and helps you to navigate this incredible human experience with greater ease, with greater joy, and hopefully having a lot more fun. So, allowing yourself to be free. Let's really dive into this. You know, the thing I'll tell you first and foremost when I was creating this episode is I thought, well, let me look up the traditional definition of the word freedom. And you know what? I couldn't find a single definition that didn't include something like bondage, suffering, sacrifice, hindrance as part of the very definition. It's to live beyond hindrance or limitation or bondage, but to really give it the definition of what is freedom. Freedom is doing what you love, doing what you enjoy, being who you are, being all that you are. And truly, freedom begins in one place. Freedom begins in your mind. It truly begins with your thoughts. So, in order to allow yourself to be free and be who you really are, it begins in your thoughts. It begins with those stories. And the one that I can easily reflect upon, and maybe you can relate, is that you can be free to do what you want to do when all of your work is done, when you've done everything you're supposed to do or that you need to do, then you can be free. But if you're like me, admittedly, I always would find something more that I needed to do. And it came from this belief that I'm not enough yet. I'm not enough yet. So I still have to do more in order to be enough. And then the work will be done. And then I'll be free. But it was this unconscious game that I was playing with myself. And maybe you can relate, right? I'll be free when. However, there's always something more to do. There's always something more you should do, or you're supposed to do, or you need to do in order to be enough. And so recently in our master's class advanced program, the question came through of how free can you allow yourself to be? How free can you allow yourself to be? I thought it was a profound question in the moment it came through. But what I have really found is how profound it is each day, all throughout the day, to ask yourself that question. How free can you allow yourself to be? And I noticed every time I ask that question, something unique comes up every time I ask that question. First off, how free can you allow yourself to be in the expression of who you really are? Being free in the expression of who you are, to express yourself authentically in a way that is true for you, being free to do that. And I noticed, being aware that freedom comes from the mind, I noticed the more that I asked that question, the more I saw the programs, the beliefs, the stories I had picked up along the way of why I couldn't be free to really allow myself to express myself. And so you may look at that in relationships. How free can you allow yourself to be in your relationships? To be who you really are, to speak your truth from your heart, to be silly or to be funny or to be playful. I noticed that I had held myself sort of stuck in my own mind, not feeling like I was free to be silly and playful and to have fun, sometimes even in my own relationships. Think about that. How free can you allow yourself to be in your relationships? How free can you allow yourself to be in your own body? One of the things I think about when I think about freedom is I think about this innocence of a child. Before they have responsibilities, right? Before they have all these things they're supposed to do or accomplish, I think back to myself as a kid. And I think about this innocent child and that innocent child dancing or singing or playing. Recently, one of my very best friends sent me this beautiful video of her granddaughter at a concert, and she was dancing and playing. That's freedom. And I realized that I don't let myself dance to a fun piece of music that I'm listening to. But as I start to focus on allowing myself to be free, maybe you start noticing that you start singing in the car more, or you start dancing in your kitchen when you hear a song that you really love, right? Allowing yourself to be free in your own body. Oh, and here's a big one: freedom from judgment of your body and the way you express yourself. How free can you allow yourself to be in your body without any judgment of being silly or childlike, right? Or not doing it right, right? So allowing yourself to be free in your own body. Sometimes this means the freedom to slow down, the freedom to find stillness in your day, the freedom to say, I know I committed this thing today, or I was supposed to do this thing today, but true freedom to go, you know what? Today I need to honor being in the flow, whatever that is in that day. And maybe it means to take some time for stillness. I had this experience just yesterday. I had things that I was supposed to do that I really wanted to do, but I received some unexpected news. And as much as I wanted to do those things, I knew that the most important thing after receiving that news was to find peace again. And in my mind said, you don't have time for peace. You don't have time for stillness. And I really had to take some deep breaths and live this, allowing myself to be free. And I went, no, the highest thing that I can do today is to honor the freedom to be and be in stillness and to breathe and not go back into that habit or story of what I'm supposed to do or what I should do. So allowing yourself to be free, allowing yourself to be free in your work, in your purpose, in your service, in your job, in your business, right? How free can you allow yourself to be? And maybe you have a story. Well, I'm not free at work because I have to do these things. I have to do these things, right? But if you start to ask yourself this question, even as it applies to your job or your work or your business, how free can I allow myself to be? And what I find most of the time is that it's choosing or allowing myself to be free of the deadlines I'm putting on myself, the to-do list I'm putting on myself, the you have to, you should. that I'm putting on myself. So, allowing yourself to be free and asking yourself that question, how free can I allow myself to be? It begins to bring to the light the beliefs you have, the stories you have, the habits you have, the unconscious habits you have of all the reasons why you can't be free. And your job is not to judge those things. Your job is to observe those things without judgment, to just observe those thoughts that come, to really observe that very ingrained pattern you may have had for decades or program that you have carried for decades of, I can't be free until, right? Fill in the blank. We can all fill in the blank. When I have X amount of money, then I'll be free. When I'm this weight, then I'll be free. When I have this, then I'll be free. When I, right? Freedom is a choice that you make right now. So allowing yourself to be free. Allowing. If you have followed this podcast, you know when I first started to bring through channeled messages that talked about allowing, I found it to be really irritating because I thought, how do I allow, right? And it's really easy when you remember that the instant manifestation of allowing is joy. When you're in a state of joy, you are allowing. When you are in a state of joy, you can allow yourself to be free. Free from the what I should do, what I'm supposed to do, right? So freedom is having nothing to prove. Think about that for a moment. Freedom is having nothing to prove to yourself or to anyone else. So think about that for a moment. For myself, I can easily see all the things that I have created a story about in my mind that I need to prove to myself, right? But what if none of that's true? What if I have nothing I have to prove to myself or to anyone? What are you left with? You're left with, so if I have nothing to prove and I'm free to be me, if you have nothing to prove, then you do what you love. You do what brings you joy. You do what you're passionate about. You create for the fun of creating because you have nothing to prove. If you feel like in your life that you're not free or that I'll be free when, ask yourself, are you free of having to prove anything to anyone or yourself? Freedom is having nothing to prove to anyone, that you are divine, sovereign, infinite being as you are. You have always been, you will always be. There's nothing to prove. There's only doing what you enjoy, only doing what you love, only doing what lights up for you. Freedom is having nothing to prove. Freedom is also having nothing to hide. You're not hiding. You're not playing small. You're not holding back. You're not living in shame. You're not afraid of being embarrassed. Freedom is having nothing to hide. Nothing to hide. Is there something that you feel like you're still hiding? And that allowing that to come to the light in your own awareness would create freedom? and be the thing that would allow yourself to be free. Nothing to hide, right? Sometimes we think we have to be perfect, that we came here to do everything, quote unquote, right and be perfect, right? And so if something happens in your life and all of a sudden you go, oh, I didn't do that right, or I did that wrong, and you start to feel ashamed of it and you start to hide it, right? And that very act of thinking that you did something wrong and you're trying to hide it from yourself or others is the very thing that isn't allowing you to be free, isn't allowing yourself to be free. And yet, I have seen so many times, and I've experienced it myself, when I really stand in my own power and I reflect back on my life experience, I was always doing the best I could with what I knew at the time. And the same is true for you. Even if that means that I know in that moment that intuitively I knew I wasn't making the highest choice, or I knew I was acting out of fear, or I knew this wasn't the right thing for me. It's also forgiving yourself for those times when you may have betrayed your own intuition, your own knowing, but you didn't have the awareness you have now. You weren't living in this level of consciousness and mastery that you are now, and that's okay. The other part of a nothing to hide, and I think even more important to bring to your awareness, is not hiding your light, not hiding your truth, not hiding your power. Nothing to hide. You are not holding back. You are shining brightly. You are being all that you are in your power, the brilliant, bold, beautiful, amazing you. And you're not hiding any of that. You're not hiding the expression of who you really are. You're not hiding your truth. Freedom is having nothing to hide. And there's no judgment here again. In some way, are you hiding out a little bit? And that hiding out is the thing that's keeping you from being free? On my own journey of going from being in the corporate world, doing everything I thought I was supposed to do and should do, to discovering that I had this ability to channel and to connect into higher wisdom and channel the counsel. I spent a lot of years hiding that part of me because I thought people would judge that part of me, because I didn't think people would understand or approve of it. And the time in my life that I felt the greatest struggle, suffering, I felt alone. I felt almost imprisoned in my own life because I was hiding this part of me. I tried really hard to start a couple of different businesses that I thought were a little bit more in line with who I was and my passion for personal development or human potential, but I was still hiding the part of me that was a channel and had this gift. And it wasn't until I accepted and approved of myself and literally said to myself, I can't hide this anymore. I can't get to the end of my life having never shared the counsel's wisdom with the world. I can't hide out anymore. And in that moment, I set myself free. There may come a moment for you where you set yourself free to no longer hide your gifts, to no longer hide your truth or your light or your power or your brilliance or your mastery. What does that mean for you? Hey, Julie, I see your question. I'll answer it. So, freedom is having nothing to hide. Now, that being said, as sort of a public uh, uh, speaker and author and teacher and having master's class program and courses and things that I do, I can sometimes be processing through something in my own life and I'm not ready to talk about it publicly or to share it. But there's a different energy between I'm not hiding it. I'm just in it. I'm in it and I'm honoring my journey where I'm at being in the middle of something. And it's not that I'm hiding it, but it's about balancing that. It's not like getting on, YouTube and telling everybody your deepest, darkest secrets. That's not what I'm talking about when I say that freedom is having nothing to hide. It's really about speaking your truth, owning your power, knowing who you are, being true to yourself, expressing yourself as the highest version of you, not hiding the real you and all that you are, right? Okay. Freedom is having nothing to chase. You're not chasing your destiny. You're not chasing your dreams. You're not chasing after trying to find someone to be in a relationship with. You're not chasing after the dollar. You're not running around chasing all of these things. In fact, allowing yourself to be free is being in your power, in the now moment, present, and allowing the energy and the light to guide the way and allowing the next perfect step to come to you. If you're chasing after things, in some way, you're creating your own struggle, your own suffering, your own I'm not enough yet, your own I haven't done enough yet, and I got to chase after this thing, and then I'll be free. All right. How many times I have heard people say, and I've certainly had this experience myself, when I have that, then I'll be free. So you're chasing after this thing that you think you need in order to be free. If you're like me, you might not even notice that you got the thing, but you're still so entangled in the story of what you need to be free that you don't even realize you have the thing you thought you needed in order to be free and you're still not free. So freedom is having nothing to chase. It's realizing that all of your power is in the now moment right here. Your power is in doing what brings you joy. Your power is in doing what you love. Your power is being present in the moment. And the next step will come, and the next step will come, and the energy and the light will guide the way for you. So having freedom is having nothing that you need to prove to yourself or anyone, nothing that you have to chase order in order to be free, and nothing that you're hiding. Most importantly, the real, authentic, powerful, bright, beautiful, brilliant you, right? Allowing yourself to be free, asking yourself the question, how free can I allow myself to be? How free can I allow myself to be? So Julie has a great question here. Julie has been part of our community for a long time, our masterclass advanced program, and she's an amazing human and master. Her question is, I find myself teaching my teenager that they can't do X, for example, without first doing their chores. What approach would you recommend with children and teens? So I think this is a really good question because, again, I look back at where a lot of that program of you can't play till all the work is done. After you do your chores, you can be free, right? And so I think each child is a little bit unique here. I don't think there's one end all be all answer, right, for every child. But if you think for a moment into that belief of, I guess, even calling it chores. These are the things you have to do versus we have a home and we have a family, and enjoying a delicious meal together and all these wonderful things we have in our home. Part of having all of those wonderful blessings, right, is that the wonderful food we eat, we've got to wash those dishes, right? And we've got to take out the garbage. And in order to have a clean, healthy environment, right, we clean the countertops or we vacuum or we dust and do the dishes. These are all part of the things that allow us to enjoy our beautiful, wonderful home and all the amazing things that we have. So, part of being in this family, right? Part of being in this beautiful experience is that we share all the different things that help create this beautiful home, right? And so, for me, it would be a conversation of, I really want you to do what you love, and I really want you to do what brings you joy, and I want you to have lots of time every day to play and to have fun and do the things that you really want to do. And that, just expressing that up front as a parent, that I want you. I think it's really important for you to do what you love and to do what you enjoy every day. This isn't about me not wanting you to do what you love, right? I want you to do what you love. I want you to do what brings you joy every day. I think that's important. I also feel it's really important that these certain things get done each day. And as part of you being in this family, right? These are the different things that need to be done. Are you willing to do this and this? And also know that you can go do the things that you enjoy. So to me, it's really a conversation of honoring that while your child or your teenager is learning and growing, and it's your job to guide them and develop them, really starting that conversation with, I want you to do what you love. I want you to go play and have fun every day. I think that's important. We've got these things around the house that need to be done every day. These are the things that I would love for you to do. Are you willing to do those things? And I'll also be willing to make sure that you have the time to do what you love. So I think it's the approach to the conversation and the vibration that you hold. And again, every child is different. I absolutely understand that there's some teenagers that probably find no value in taking the garbage out, right? And so it is about having that conversation. And you may have to have it many, 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 many times. But from that essence of, if that is true for you, really wanting your children or your teenagers to have time in the day to do what's fun for them and to play. So I hope that makes sense. Um, uh, so Caroline says, I'm due to move soon at my house soon, but can't find a job to move to. How do you let go of this without chasing? I'm doing my best to be present in the moment, but still nothing is materializing. So great question. And I have to go to one of our incredible masters in our master's class community. She found out not too long ago that she needed to move from her heaven on earth, the home that she loved. She had no intention of moving. She absolutely loved her home. And she's starting a business or a product or a creation that she has and bringing it into the world. And all of a sudden, this, loophole or this issue comes up, right? That she's got to move. And she's asked this question, and we've talked about it quite a bit in our master's class community of, this is happening for me, right? In some way, this is leading me into a new level of expansion. That something good is coming from all of this. Something about this is divinely orchestrated and divinely timed. So first thing I recommend is you've got to shift your perspective. You don't have to, but if you want to be happy, to invite in the highest outcome and allow it to be easy, effortless, harmonious. The first step is really to expand your perspective, that there's not a limited amount of jobs, there's not a limited amount of homes. Shifting out of the limitation of there's only one option or there's no option or there's not enough options and there's not enough time. When you find yourself in that, you're holding yourself in lack and limitation. So all of the energy and the light that is here to guide you towards that next perfect step, to that which is even beyond what you could think to imagine, it's not available when you're holding yourself in limitation. So the first is to shift your perspective. There are endless potentials and endless opportunities. There are so many options available in my home, in my job. I know this is happening for me. I know this is a result of my expansion. I know this is all going to work out. I know it's going to come together perfectly. The universe is efficient and expeditious. And I haven't always loved that, but I do now. Knowing that the universe is efficient and expeditious. And so, back to the student I was talking about, she really wanted to be in this very particular area across from the harbor and the place that she lived. She had a few very specific things that this home had to accommodate. And because of that, she looked at several places that didn't work. She applied for several houses, put an application in, and it got denied. And now she was coming up on the last little teeniest, tiniest bit of time and really needed the divine orchestration of the universe that is efficient and expeditious. And just today, she sent me an email that said essentially, oh my gosh, guess what? A friend of hers is allowing her and her son, is gifting her and her son 6 months of living in their multi-million-dollar house for free. The house was going to be empty for 6 months. And instead of having to pay rent or buy a place, this person gifted her, is giving her a place to live in the very place she wanted to be, in a house that she thought, oh my gosh, how would I ever afford that? She gets to live there 6 months for free, right on the harbor in the place she wanted to be. And the universe is efficient and expeditious. Guess what that leads to? Guess what the next step after that is? So you have to open up to all of these potentials and possibilities. If your perspective is nothing is materializing, then nothing can materialize. If your perspective is anything and everything is possible, then maybe you'll get to live in a multi-million-dollar house 6 months for free, or the perfect job comes, or there's always more. There's infinite possibilities. So get into that energy of anything is possible. Get into that energy of the next perfect step is coming, that everything's possible, right? Yes, open up to divine prosperity. Julie's answer was, thank you, Sarah. This validates the approach I do take with my children and teaching them personal responsibility and teamwork as a family. Perfect, brilliant, love that. You know, our soul's deepest desire for our life experience is freedom. It is probably the number one desire of everyone ultimately. Even when students say, I want to make more money, I want to have more money, I want X amount of money. Why? What are you going to feel when you have that money? And the answer is always the same. Always the same. I will feel free. I will have freedom. When I have X amount of money, I will be free. But what I have come to realize through living the council's wisdom is that the freedom has to come first. You've got to allow yourself to be free, and then the abundance will come. Then the divine prosperity shows up. Then you find yourself doing what you love, and there's this whole flow of abundance. It's the essence to everything. If I ask, when someone says, I want to find my soulmate, I want to find the love of my life, why? What are you going to feel? Ultimately, when you go back, the answer is always the same. Then I'll be free to be who I really am. If I had my soulmate, I'd be free to be who I really am and to have fun and to travel and do all the things I really want to do, and to love as deeply and as boldly as I want to love. When I speak with someone who has a disease or a diagnosis or pain in the body, what do they want? To be free of that pain, to be free in their body, to be free to move and dance and play and do the things they love without pain. I have never come across any desire that anyone has that ultimately doesn't come back to freedom, the freedom to be who you are. Even when you want to live your purpose. I want to live my purpose. I want to know what my purpose is. And then I'll be free to do what I love and do what I enjoy. Right? Freedom is truly everything. Yeah, truly everything. Caroline says, thank you. The house I'm moving into is the house of my dreams. So that does feel like the perfect next step. Awesome. And know that everything you need will be there. It will, truly. And when you focus on what you love, what brings you joy, feeling that freedom, your soul has always been free. So the highest expression of your soul in physical form is to live at that level of freedom. To live at that level of freedom. A few years ago, we did a single channeled session on freedom. The freedom to create the life you love. Freedom to create a life you love. And if it feels good to you, I want you to give yourself permission right now. You have nothing to prove, nothing to hide, nothing to chase, nothing more you need to do to be enough. There's no more work to do. You are free to create a life you love. You are free to create a life you love. So here's another question. I'm afraid to make a certain decision because of what my parents might think, or that it won't sit well with them, and that they might get offended or angry, right? So whether it's a parent or a spouse or a child or a loved one or friends, I have asked this question more times than I can count. And I bet you all will also know the answer to this question that I have been asked more times, that I have asked more times than I can count. What do you most want for the people that you love? What do you want for your parents? What does every parent want for their child? What do you want for the people you love? The answer is almost always, and I bet you got it. Type it in there. Type in the answer. What do you want for the people you love? Type it in the comments. What do you want for the people you love? Most everyone will say, I want them to be happy. Yes, exactly. I want them to be happy. Your parents want you to be happy. Your children, your spouse, if it's someone you really love, again, same answer, same answer. I want everyone to be happy. I want them to be happy. I want them to be free, right? You've got to first embody that for yourself. The greatest gift you give to anyone that you love is your own happiness, your own sense of freedom. And then the conversation's very different. When you're approaching a conversation with someone and you want to talk to them about something, or something that was choiceless, or something that you want to do, or a decision that you made, when you're going into that conversation afraid that they're going to be angry or upset with you, you are literally holding your body in a way like, oh, I don't want them to be upset with me. I'm scared of their response. I don't want to upset them. I don't want them to be angry, right? You're actually constricting your energy, your light, your power. You're playing small. You're you're holding yourself in resistance. And oftentimes what they respond to is that resistance. So now you feel resistance, now they feel resistance, and then you say something like, I don't know why I'm doing this, and I don't want you to be mad at me, and I don't know what to say, and I don't know what to do, and you kind of start hiding yourself, or maybe you don't even really tell them the whole story, right? So then they respond to that versus when you really embody your own freedom, when you know you have made this choice because this is what makes you happy, because this is what you feel called to do, because this feels like the next perfect step to you, because this is what you enjoy and this is what you want to create. When you get into that energy, you might notice that instantly you sit up a little straighter and you start to feel this energy flowing through your body. And you feel the excitement of why you chose what you chose and what you want to do and what you want to create. And if you go to someone you love and you say, I'm really excited about this thing. I'm so happy. Maybe it's, I'm so happy I got this amazing job that I love and it's such an amazing opportunity. And as part of that opportunity, this job is in a different town and I'm really excited to move and how I'm going to grow and expand and the experiences I'm going to have. And gosh, I'm so excited to share this with you and I love you and I'm so happy about this. If you go into that conversation with someone, right? And they see the light in your eyes and the smile on your face, and they can feel your happiness and feel your joy. They're more likely to go, I just want you to be happy. I just want you to be happy. In fact, I had a situation like this a few years ago where I was kind of dreading a conversation with someone I love, but I really wanted to have the freedom to speak my truth. And again, I went into the energy of, why am I choosing this? Because it makes me happy, because I know that this is what I'm being called to do, because I know this is my truth. And so I really felt into that energy. And I kept imagining that person saying to me, I just want you to be happy. I just want you to be happy. I just want you to be happy. And I kept saying that to myself. I just feel that this is my greatest joy. And so I came to the moment of having that conversation and I really practiced going into my heart and speaking my truth. And I didn't memorize what I was going to say. I didn't really know what I was going to say. But in that moment, I went into my heart and I just spoke from my heart. I spoke my truth from my heart. And the second I got done, that person said to me, I just want you to be happy. And there was no upset, there was no anger, there was no difficult conversation. So it's all really about the energy that you're in. And again, I want to say I didn't have that conversation with that person until I really just felt like I know they want me to be happy, right? So play around with that. I hope that's helpful. Um, Another question. I guess I'm not really sure how to be free. I feel like I've been sitting back and allowing love to lead, but nothing really happens, and finances are currently tough. So, um, I want to say one of the times that I experience freedom the most is when I am creating something that I love, when I am engaged and have activated the creative process. So, if you are in a place like this person who's asking a question, it's a great question. Uh, I'm allowing love to lead, but nothing really happens and finances are tough. I want you to shift your awareness into, what would I love to create? What would I love to create? And go create that thing, whatever it is. If you want to bake some banana bread, using your grandmother's recipe, then go bake banana bread. If you want to paint the beautiful tree in your yard, go paint the beautiful tree. If you want to write a blog or create a YouTube video, right? Or a course, or you have this fun idea for a project, start doing it. Activate and engage yourself in the creative process. One of the ways I experience the greatest joy and the greatest feeling of freedom is when I'm creating something and I'm engaged in the creative process. And sometimes, for example, that is going out in my garden and creating beautiful bouquets of roses that I put all around my house. And after I do that, I just feel so alive, so in the flow, so free to express myself. And I start to notice that things start to flow from there. Now, maintaining that innocence and that joy, is there something that you would love to create and share with others that creates an energetic exchange? I have so many beautiful roses in my rose garden, and I have planted many beautiful roses in my rose garden for my own personal joy and to share them with you on videos like this. But there's a farmer's market in my town every Wednesday. And if I wanted to, I could create these beautiful arrangements and I could sell them at the farmer's market. My mom loves to do stuff like this, and she found all these beautiful pieces of driftwood, and she found all these beautiful artificial flowers that were sort of timeless. And she started decorating these beautiful pieces of driftwood with these beautiful flowers for centerpieces and things for people's tables, and started selling them at her local farmer's market. And so just start engaging yourself in the creative process with that innocence, with that joy. And I promise you, inspiration will come, intuition will come, the next perfect step will come. You'll feel yourself engaged in the creative process, and you'll feel the freedom that comes with getting engaged in the creative process. I want to go back to this thing. The council's been asked the question. So, right, I just get into my power in the moment and I imagine abundance, and I'm sitting in my living room in stillness, imagining abundance, and the money's just going to knock on the door. And they're like, well, technically, if you could maintain a vibration and absolute knowing and allowing that, yes, money can come in all sorts of different ways, but you didn't come here to just sit alone in your living room your whole life and visualize abundance. You came here to be part of this incredible life experience that is you. And you came here to create and to collaborate and co-create and connect and have fun. And we all have these gifts that we're here to share. And so living fully and loving fully and being all that you are every day. And it doesn't have to be for someone else always, but we are here to discover and remember our gifts and then share them, because in sharing them, we all have more. There's actually greater freedom in all of us sharing our gifts, whatever that is for you. But sometimes the gift is for you, right? Maybe it's creating a sacred space in your own home that where you go for 15 to 20 minutes every day to just tune in and connect to your soul or your higher self and breathe. Maybe you create a sacred space. In fact, I did that once in my life that I can remember very specifically. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt like I really wanted to be on my path and know my purpose, but I didn't really feel like I was. And so I decorated this little space in my house, and I put sacred little things. I got this beautiful rug, and I put things that were really special to me. And I got this really simple journal and pen, and I placed it in that sacred space. I created that sacred space. And then each day I would go and I would journal. And it led to so much insight and inspiration that it really helped me to connect with my purpose at that time. So maybe it's as simple as creating something for yourself All right. Okay. Allowing yourself to be free, right? You're going to get off this podcast and you're going to, what do I do now? Right? Ask yourself this question. How free can I allow myself to be? Be aware and consciously, without judgment, observe those thoughts, those stories, those patterns, those beliefs that have kept you from experiencing the freedom of your soul to do what you love, to do what you enjoy, to create a life that you love. Right? That's why you're here. And as you set yourself free, we really are shining the light for others to remember the freedom that's here for them too. It is the desire of our soul for freedom and truly the essence of everything everyone wants. And to me, it's what I most want for the world, especially now. So the greatest thing that you can do is to allow yourself to be free and to embody that freedom and to really be that example of freedom in the world. I really do believe that is the way we serve in the greatest way. So I hope this was helpful. Go out there and feel the freedom to do what you love, to do what brings you joy, to be who you are. So we'll put the link to that if you want more about this topic and are interested in channeled sessions. We have a really great 2-hour channeled session called Freedom to Create a Life You Love. We'll put the link down there below. You can find many more free resources at saralandon.com. If you love this, subscribe, leave us a comment. What does freedom mean to you? What is the essence of freedom? How are you allowing yourself to be free? We love to hear from you. And thank you to everybody who is on live. You can also catch the replay of this on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to Journey of the Master. Thank you so much for being here. Now go shine and play and have fun and be free. Bye, everybody.